Okay, my camera is working. I take this as a sign that I want to make this video. I'm kind of making up for the fact that I didn't do any posts for the last new moon. I have a newsletter where I send stuff about the energies, and I kind of was too busy doing new moon circles and courses and other stuff, so I didn't get around to that. Sorry, guys. But it's the full moon tonight. I'm going to go out in a moment again because I want to take some pictures, but it takes very long here for the moon to rise over the large mountains around me, all of which are over 1,000 meters high, so I have to wait a little bit. In the meantime, I wanted to talk about something that came up the other day around people being very confused at the moment. I mean, this is something that has been going on for years, basically, but it seems to be peaking at times. And at the moment, I wanted to take you out or take you into a bit of a trip brain-wise, because I think that we think that the confusion is more emotion based than it is in the end. I'm not sure. I mean, obviously, this does not have to apply to everybody, but I think that we are adding to the confusion that we'll be feeling anyway, both on a personal level and on a collective level. And if you're very sensitive, you'll be feeling the collective level of confusion and fear, most definitely, because it's very strong. And I was inspired by something that Terence Howard said about how the universe creates itself, and wanted to talk about that. We get drawn into the kind of, which has been a huge topic, like, the world being binary. There's antinomes, meaning there's opposites for everything, because that's how our human mind basically conceptualizes of reality. Yet, and they also exist, but not often how we do feel them. And I think that at the moment, a lot of the insecurity is actually because we're coming out of illusion, a lot of illusion. Illusion about the world, illusion about other people, illusion about ourselves, which is always very, very painful. And while we're stepping out of these illusions, and that's a necessary process, I think it's very healthy in a way, but it's so very uncomfortable, and it causes us to grieve so many things and to have that urge to regress into the past. Like, I have that massively at the moment, like to go back to something that we feel familiar with, and feel a bit safer. And at least for myself, I would say I'm allowing myself to do that, at least in the places where I can see that it is not unhealthy, and that I'm not getting stuck with that, and that I'm realizing that things have to move on and they have to change. But I wanted to talk about the confusion caused within this process. And I think, we've been living, that these illusions are often based on a lot of ways that things have been assigned a certain place within reality in the past. And even though you've always been aware, we all are aware that these are kind of random. You take, for instance, male and female and what they mean, and all that has a real existence, obviously, a real manifestation in the physical, and it has huge energetic implications. And yet we are all aware that we are both, that we are male and female within ourselves, because there's different qualities that we all incorporate. And I wanted to talk about the sun. That's a bit of a jump, maybe, because I thought, when you look at the sun, which in most languages is assigned as a male, while actually in the Germanic languages, like in German, it is female. That's something that used to totally confuse me when I was a child. How, it could be this or that, and how do you assign that, and what is it really? And when you look at what it does, because it's the sun really is both what the divine energy, it's an emanation of God, but I mean, so are you. But it's kind of a function of creation in a way, because it's both where all energy comes through, which would be like the male energy, electricity, but it's also the womb, or the, well, I don't know how you would call that scientifically based. It's kind of, I know the word in German. It's kind of like a laboratory in a way, you have these containers where all the elements are created, and from it, so it's both, it's where divine energy comes in, and that spark, you could say, that initiation, that maleness, but also it's the womb where these elements are created and kind of birthed into, for instance, this solar system. And out of these elements that are birthed into this solar systems, then in the different spheres, the planets form themselves. And now, particularly with planet Earth, obviously we assign her to be female. But see, what does that mean from the perspective of being the sun? Now, I'm both. I'm the womb and I'm the creation that is flowing through, and I'm also the force of creation that is flowing into me, and then from me outwards expanding into this solar system. And then there's this planet that is created or creates itself, the Earth, which takes on female qualities, so to speak. It actually has its own expansion, it has its own spin, but it needs energy to create anything. So in this moment, the sun, from the Earth's perspective, and that really what is really the soup of the universe where everything is created, becomes male. But does that make the sun something different than it was before? Really not. It's kind of like as if you were creating something out of yourself. Let's say it's a painting with a certain energy. Does that then mean that you become something different? Not necessarily. It's just that things are moving forward and they're changing because of that forward movement. So what I'm trying to say, and I hope that I'm doing it even a little bit successfully, is that we tend to fixate on these things being a problem when they're just part of natural cycles. They're just part of things that are always happening. I mean, they're always happening for the sun. They are always happening for the planets. They are always happening for the seasons or anything like that. It's really is a cycle. It's not ever finished. That's why I also don't like people talking about how the universe was created. That doesn't make any sense whatsoever. The universe is created and it's being created as we are speaking. It's just a process. So within that confusion, even as things are changing, that doesn't mean that you are changing or that things are just falling apart or getting worse, or that they're less in control than they used to be. I think that is more kind of part of the illusion being stripped away. Because you're widening your perspective, and you're becoming more, and you're really becoming more means, and awareness always means responsibility, because then you have to make more decisions from that awareness and from that wider perspective. And that's never easy. I mean, not for anybody. So I hope you're having a lovely new moon. We're having tons of really, really wonderful conjunctions that are all helping the sun in you, the creator in you, that in you which is creating into the world, be it as the electricity that sparks life, or be it as the expansiveness that is magnetic, at least in the case of our planet, most definitely. Whether you're breathing in or you're breathing out, ideally you'd be doing both. So I hope you're having a pleasant and really lovely full moon, and that you can feel as many of these good energies as is humanly possible. And I love you all very, very much. See you soon.